There is a triangle in the Atlantic bounded by Falmouth, the Azores and La Coruña, where the 4 leading boats in the last 2 Azab races have met their fate. 1 dismasted and destroyed after collision with whales, 1 hulled and flooded, 1 pitch-poled and destroyed, and 1 dismasted. This is the story of the only one that made it back to land without assistance.
20 knots on both the knot meter and the GPS. Are averaging about 15-16, with the wind about 20 degrees off the quarter. It's very good performance. We're fairly sure we're still in the lead.
Sailing with me on the outward leg was Brian Thompson, holder of the record from the Azores to Falmouth, and as one of the crew on the 60-foot trimaran Lakota, holder of the Round Britain and Trans-Pacific records. John Chaundy sailed on the second leg back to Falmouth.
Yeah.
The Azores and Back race, or AZAB, races from Falmouth in Cornwall, southwest England, halfway across the Atlantic to the Azores, to San Miguel, the port of Punta Delgada, and then back approximately 1,250 miles to Falmouth.
As the fleet approached the start line, Sir Robin Knox-Johnson, Yachtsman of the Year and co-skipper of Enza, holder of the round-the-world non-stop record, bowed the cannon on Pendennis Castle. Spirit of England was first of the 69 starters across the line, hotly pursued by 4 other trimarans. Several's Challenge, Shockwave, Fiery Cross and Mollymawk. We throttled up to 22 knots in the fresh nor'westerly with 2 reefs in the main, 1,250 miles to go. In the channel chop, the top of the rotating wing mast was bending and humping alarmingly, as the head of the main was below the hands and not stabilizing the mast. We furled the genoa and set the staysail, which is better for the mast, but allowed Severals to close the gap. We bore off as a grey dusk fell to lose them in the channel. Little did we know that the boat would never be seen again.
Leaving the English Channel and entering the Bay of Biscay. We've got a beam reach and we're shooting along at about 18 to 20 knots across the Bay of Biscay, and we're going to keep about a couple hundred miles off Cape Finisterre here to keep clear of stronger winds which may well reach gale force going down this coast. But on the other hand, not too far west, we don't want to get into the high over here, so the optimum course is roughly between the two, hopefully getting a force 5 or so wind in here.
We're halfway through the AZAB race, and it's exactly 48 hours since we left. So if we keep the speed up, we've been doing up to 20 knots on both the knot meter and the GPS. We're averaging about 15-16, with the wind about 20 degrees off the quarter. It's very good performance. We're fairly sure we're still in the lead. Our only real competitor in these conditions is Severals. And if we keep this speed up, if we're there in another 48 hours, we'll probably have beaten the record by 2 full days. So we've got the big chute up, blowing force 5, and everything's holding together well, touch wood. So, barring accidents, we should have something to celebrate when we get there.
The first 3 days we reached at a consistent 15 to 22 knots, maintaining 24-hour averages of up to 320 nautical miles. Doing this kind of speed is a permanent adrenaline rush, especially at night when the boat is shrouded in sheets of phosphorescent spray. Below, we could not sleep in our 2-hour off watches for 2 days due to the loud banging and crashing. By focusing on de-stressing rather than sleeping, we got some fatigue recovery.
So we've had some typical North Atlantic weather, grey, grey, grey every day, and grey the next day, and grey the day after that. Grey skies, grey seas, and kind of gloomy atmosphere. But now it's faded, and in fact this morning we had some porpoises as well for the first time.
A loud bang and the boat shuddered as the masthead kite dropped a few feet. Something had blown.
It's blocked. It's come off somehow. So came up on deck, looked at the problem, and it seemed like the bail had pulled out from the crane that sticks out of the front of the mast. And the block fell down, and the only thing holding the chute up was the exit point from the so we got the chute stuck, and then we spent 15 minutes deciding what to do. Various options of fixing it. What we ended up doing was climbing out, me in the chair, Peter grinding me all the way up.
First of all, going up the shroud and getting about 10 wraps around the shroud too.
Well, I did try up the shroud. That was a mistake. It was too rough.
I thought I'd leave you up there for the night.
Yeah.
You'd never get down again.
Yeah. Oh, breaking after that. But got down, went up again on the mast.
It was a major blow with lighter following winds now and no capability to set our light air sails. The options were to repair the U-bolt, lie on the smaller sails, or set the big sails from the hounds. The first option was out, due to the wild motion at the top of the mast, even the shackled-up jury system. The second meant we'd lose a day in the race.
And then we hoisted it again on the lower halyard, the front halyard, and it seems to be holding pretty well. Maybe it's not
The race, and we sailed as far as here, and we had a great run through these northerly winds, mostly on a broad reach, mostly force 5 to 6 through here, doing up to 22 knots. We've been more of a run recently. Our main concern now is that there's a ridge out here, and the wind's starting to get very light. And we're just deliberating whether to drive that way and then that way, or that way and then that way, working out the VMGs on it. I think we're pretty well ahead of the fleet and set for a record as well.
Miles to go, and we've just picked up the cloud on San Miguel Island. It's right where it should be. And there aren't any other boats on the horizon, so we hope that we still have a chance of getting in first in spite of the setback.
The sun has just come out for the very first time out of the race.
So we've got some...
Over there, you've got to get in on
Oh yeah, real sun. There it is. We have a gimbaled gas cooker here. And the paraffin cooker here. And the galley. And bow cabin. With 2 berths. Multiple gear as well as the instruments. And the auto helm control, which can be reached from the bunk. And that line hanging there is what I call a Geronimo line. That attaches to the main sheet and can be tripped while you're asleep or just when you wake up to stop capsizing. GPS, and above the GPS barometer, switch panel, and single sideband, and above the single sideband, the weather facts. And here you can see we have just received the weather facts showing the situation. We are right now approaching the Azores here, heading in through a strong wind area in here. And we're actually just coming in now to San Miguel, which you see. Day 5 of our race, and it's the first time we've seen a sunrise, and it's very nice, especially as on our beam is the island of San Miguel, about 12 miles off. And we're keeping offshore here to make sure we don't lose the breeze behind the island. We have about just under 30 miles to the finish line now. As you can hear, that was the kite.
do that again.
Yeah, every mile, every second counts. Yeah, we might be racing on corrected time. Yeah, we're still doing 10 knots or so. We have a jury rig system here. The master kite fractional halyard. It's not ideal, but it's done us alright through the night. No other racing boats in sight. And there is the finish over there.
And here you can see how low the foot of the mast-type kite is, set 6 feet lower on the fractional halyard.
Finish line, right ahead. And we just called in on the VHF, and we're the first boat in. So, that's made it a nice morning.
The last few miles were exasperatingly slow, as we were almost becalmed on the lee of this high volcanic island. We were greeted by the press and TV crews. We had broken the record by 28 hours. Spirit of England's elapsed time was 4 days, 20 hours, 14 minutes and 11 seconds. Second in was John Fowler's Shuttleworth 30 Shockwave, 36 hours later, followed by Mark Gatehouse's Queen Anne's Battery Marina, formerly BOC winner, Credit Agricole. Next was Trevor Leake's Mollymawk, a Bailey 40, formerly MTC, former class winner and record holder of both single-handed and double-handed transatlantic races. Trevor had done the race single-handed and had in fact broken the single-handed record, a terrific achievement. Sadly, we learned that our main competitor, Several's Challenge, had pitch-poled halfway into the race, whilst driving hard in a Force 6. John Chaundy and Dick Skipworth had been rescued by helicopter after setting off their EPIRB. The boat was lost, and John Chaundy decided to sail back on Spirit. Fourth was Rupert Kidd's Fowry Cross in 6 days, 14 hours, 49 minutes and 15 seconds. Crewed by co-designer Alan Clark. Both Spirit of England and Fowry Cross are from the Owen Clark Design Group.
Last 5, the winner was Spirit of England, Peter Hesselberg, Brian Monty.
Royal Cornwall and Club Naval, in particular Anne, Prue, Philip, Alberto and Chico. Without all of their very hard work for over a year, we wouldn't have had the chance to enjoy this. Please join me.
As Peter Clutterbuck decorations.
Most of the crew's friends and family were able to come out between the races and see them off for the start. Rupert Kidd chose to single-hand his Owen Clark 35 Fiery Cross. Spirit of England unfurls her masthead reacher in perfect sailing conditions prior to the start. After the start, most of the fleet chose to go westwards around the island. Shockwave and Spirit of England decided to go east. Spirit of England quickly overhauled Shockwave with her increased sail area.
Second day out on the return leg from the Azab. We overtook Shockwave yesterday and we're comfortably ahead of her. Hopefully she's in second place. We went around the east end of Samuel, which I think was the right decision. The rest of the fleet went around the west end. And now we're trying to avoid this high here, which is threatening to camp across the whole course. So we're going around this side of it to catch some northerners. And last night we were in this trough. Big cold front, thunderstorms, lightning, torrential rain, lots of excitement. Now that's gone, we've got a nice sunny day. We're beating along, doing about 12 knots under the autopilot in 10 knots of wind. Here we are on second day out of the course. Beating into a nice Norway. Nice thing about being in Multihull is we can choose our weather. The monohulls are all back there, stuck in the middle of the high. If we want more wind, we go that way towards Spain. If we want less wind, we go towards the high. Right. Choose weather, we've got a nice simple breeze, we're still doing 10 or 12 knots. So it's the daggerboard and underneath the hull, very easy to do like this.
Great.
And also exercise your legs, which tend to get rather unused in a boat.
Very good.
Looks like we're more or less going straight for the spot where several pitch poled.
Yeah.
So maybe we should look out for any upturned hulls.
Well, we probably left a few crumbled bits behind unfortunately. Everyone's, we're probably playing old sand wandering back. I'm not sure what the story is about that. They just bits and either good bits or in that. You never know. But it doesn't look like we're getting any wind to sort that problem.
hopefully the same thing doesn't happen to us that happened to Mark Gatehouse on his way back after winning the outward leg.
Mark's 40-foot Cat was destroyed. They were rescued by a ship and ended up in Venezuela rather than Falmouth. We were now entering the Azores Triangle. The mast was broken just outside the starboard hull, the top 40 feet pointing straight down. One of the bottom spreaders was broken off and the other busy grinding holes in the hull. There were 2 holes in the starboard hull, 3 in the main hull. All appeared to be taking water. The broken mast was grinding pieces off the outer hull, with big booming noises, hanging off a mass of halyards, reef lines, wire and so on. There were over 60 points of attachment between mast and boat. We both got seasick and weakened rapidly, unable to hold any food down, grinding down to an exhausted stalemate, then having another go, wielding havoc with our tool chest and emergency gear. Gear over the side weighed half a ton. Most of the running rigging was slashed with a saw knife, the smaller wires with the bolt cutters. The 3 main wires were holding the mast and were too big for the bolt cutters. The bar-tight headstay with its furled genoa was causing the broken mast pieces to grind away at the hull, and needed releasing immediately. The boat was taking the beam seas badly. We decided to set the parachute anchor to get head to sea.
One of our emergency procedures, which is now upwind of us, holding the boat head to wind and head to seas. And we deployed this by throwing over a small fender, which was a retrieve float, attached to a 130 foot of retrieve line, which was yellow point, Wolski line, and a larger fender here, which is a retrieve float, attached to the top of the parachute. Threw that lot in first, and then the boat drifted back against it, and it came taut, pulled the parachute out of its bag, set it, and we now have a bridle, which is consisting of spinnaker, sheets, and guys, 60 foot long, so that it pulls the boat nice, and a nice straight line, head to wind and head to seas. And we're just going to wait here until the seas have died down, and the wind's died down to the point where we can set a jury rig up and try to get to some kind of land.
Right up ahead is the boarding buoy, the fender, which marks the sea anchor. Sea parachute anchor. Right up there somewhere. That's holding us in position. It's a big 18-foot diameter anchor. It's a wonderful thing. It's keeping us right head to wind. We're maybe doing less than a quarter of a knot backwards. We know our position. Sorry to be out of the race, but handle this boat well. We had good equipment, bolt cutters, parachute anchor, life harnesses, special tools, all of which are called into play. And John has done a fantastic job. He's handled the crisis very well. For him, it's been very unlucky having pitchpole several challenge on the way down here. And now tried to be dismasted on the way back when we were almost certainly in the lead position. There's where the mast went over the side. Remains of our boom, rigging. Damage here where the mast ripped out of the deck. And damage there where it went right through the deck on top of John's bunk. This is where the furler ripped out here. Ripped clean out of the deck. Tore off a stanchion. We had a hell of a job getting it out. Couldn't get the split pin out because it was under so much load. But we did it finally. There's the base of the mast. This boat is very jerky motion. It's impossible to stand on the decks. You have to crawl around everywhere.
Winds which very often reach gale force around Finisterre. We're now just laying to the sea anchor. The sea parachute anchor, which is just holding us at the seas. It's wind very nasty. And it looks like with this wind set in here, we would have a beat to the finish line. Of course, we can't do very well without a mast. If it had been following wind, we might have been able to sail with a jury rig back to the finish. So now we're looking at all the options. Don't really want to go this way into Finisterre because it would be into stronger winds in here, and the damage is all on the starboard side, starboard hull and main hull, and we don't really want to push the starboard hull underwater because it will fill up even more with water than it is already. So we're basically planning on getting up a jury rig and heading off this way into this ridge towards Canada, which is over here, and hopefully wind dies down a bit. And the boat dries out a bit, and we...
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have a few reefs in, but we'll be doing a few knots.
2 knots in wind. Flyers, though, get some knots fast.
Boat now head to sea, it was possible to continue with repairs, especially sealing the holes in the decks. We lay to the sea anchor for 3 days. We learned also that Trevor Leake at Mollymore, the second fastest boat in the fleet, had been rescued by a Russian ship going to Venezuela. We heard that his daggerboard had ripped a 12 square foot hole at the bottom of the main hull, splitting it in two, and a whole lot of gear had been lost, including his drinking water. He was forced to give up the race. The ship had lifted Trevor and Mollymore on board. Eventually the seas subsided enough that we were able to get the parachute anchor in.
Get the power anchor in and sail off west-northwest to Bear Health. We'll find out these strong winds.
running downwind under bare hulls, we started setting up the boom as a mast. Finally, we were under sail again, with the trysail, sailing west towards Canada.
Big moment here. Have the
Here's the damage as we lost the mast over the side. Punctured one compartment here, which we pumped out this morning. Had about 100 gallons in it, so about half a ton of water. And here's our jury rig. We have a forward shroud, inner shroud, a forestay with upside down staysail hacked on it, and inner forestay in case the outer forestay chased through. There's the remains at the bottom of the mast. There's the mast, the new mast. Sorry about the shaking here, but as the hulls hit the water, they shake the boat. There are our two sails, upside down staysail as a jib, and storm trysail set on its side as a temporary mainsail. We even have a telltale here, and all the backstays and sheets are all sheeted back to the cockpit there. Here's the mast base. We have it tied down with 4 lines in 4 different directions, all brought back to winches and jammers so we can keep it central. And the wire there is our temporary VHF aerial, which was hooked up to the batten up there with a dipole arrangement. This is half a cable cutter here, which we use to cut the rig loose, which is used to prevent mast rotation so that we don't lose the position of the mast on top of the mast base support, which goes through the boat. And here we have tied down all our sails onto the leeward side. Because of the small sail area, we're trying to keep this leeward side in the water most of the time to reduce this slapping around which happens and whips the boat around as the hulls slam in and out of the water. And here is our jury rig looking upwards with the upside down staysail and the trysail set as a loose up main there. All of our standing rigging comes back to the clutches here and is knotted off so it passes through the clutches. New VHF aerial up there.
And I'll use the downhole retrieve line.
Into this sunny calm weather to do our epoxy repairs on the decks and hulls. I'm going to shoot now.
So set up quick in this good sun, yeah?
A long piece of tape right through there, and some cross pieces here, and just picking it up around this area. Only just one tape down this area. Work at the same time.
We set about jettisoning the remaining section of mast in 16,000 feet of water. Even this bottom third section weighed a hefty 200 pounds and had to be treated with care.
Power the edge, you see? Bring it power the edge. Okay? Now, bring it over the edge. You're going to get much roll, right?
Yeah, more of a first push to the bottom.
So I'll let you through it.
No, wait, stop. What we do is say 1, 2, 3, push. We push from the bottom end. Keep it vertical as it goes out. Okay, 1, 2, 3. It's gonna go! It's gonna go! 1, 2, 3, push! Hey, goes forward!
With all the essential repairs now complete, we headed east back to Europe.
Back, all the way. Across. Every day we have. Trying to keep the technique we use for making the sail lateral foot. And also the same technique
We rigged an emergency VHF aerial.
Can I just wrap it around the shock cord? And decided there we weren't going to find any wind, so we about turned, possibly to go to England, possibly to Spain, get the options open, and in fact we've made good progress this way.
Portishead, Strait of England, our position is 43 degrees, 57 minutes north, 14 degrees, 58 minutes west.
Give me a call sign again.
Roger, it's Mike Sierra, Mike Quebec 9, over.
Just guarantee within 30 days there'll be quite a nice breeze here. But I'm not quite sure when.
Various alarm clocks, alarm clocks stuck all over the place on Velcro here. We also stick our pencils down with Velcro so they don't roll around. And we have our salt and pepper on Velcro so they don't roll around. So basically we're pretty well organized in here. We came out for a 5-day passage. We've been out here nearly 2 weeks now. It'll be 2 weeks by the time we get in. So we stretched all of our provisions, batteries, fuel, food, water. We stretched it 100%, 200%. And we're looking forward to a bath, a meal, a shower, a beer,
We had one beer for this whole trip, and we split it when we put the mast up. And that was it. That was the only beer we had, but it was a good celebration because we had a mast and we had a rig, and we've got here. We didn't have to get any assistance at all to get here. So we're very pleased with that. Now here we have a total flat calm. 0.00 knots of wind. 0.00 knots of boat speed. 196 miles from Clutterbuck. We've got some hard-boiled eggs here, which have been sitting in this hot cabin for about 2 weeks now, and they kind of gone strange, but I still eat them. Dawn won't eat them. I still eat them on the basis that the Chinese eat 100-year-old eggs, and they haven't died because of it. So anyway, we've got a couple of cookers here. This is a gimbaled one here, which is very good for fast foods and cup noodles and so on. This one here we use when we're making some kind of gourmet dish. We just made one last night, and we've got the remains of it here for today's lunch. It's a turkey noodle job. And we've got fresh water here and salt water here. Fresh water, we're watching every drop because we've used up we're on our second tank now. We've got a third tank available. We do have a little hand-pumped water maker, which we can use in an emergency, which will make, I think it's about 5 gallons a day, as long as you do this for 24 hours a day. Anyway, we're living mainly on our salt water supplies, which we use for washing and cooking with, so as to minimize the use of the fresh water. Tanaka generator, which puts out about 20 amps or so. And we've been watching the fuel consumption on that. We've still got a few days left of fuel. But that's been wonderful in terms of being able to recharge the batteries after all this heavy single sideband usage. And over here back in the cabin, we got our VHF here. We've been trying to contact ships with this thing here. But we haven't had any luck at all. We were looking for a ship to come this way and maybe pick us up off the water and take us into the English Channel, but we haven't seen any vessels at all since being dismasted that have been going in it.
See what a tank you can see through.
Just think of all those nice cold beers he's got on that thing.
Oh, no, he's got the work in that now. He's worked in there. He's got his lobster in the freezer. There's radar going now. There's another radar flash.
Motor vessel Asian Wind, motor vessel Asian Wind. This is vessel Spirit of England. Spirit of England. Do you copy, over? It's the first ship we've seen in these 2 weeks that's been going our way. And we hoped maybe we could negotiate with him to pick us up. We have 4 slings set, ready for a pickup. But as he's going to Bordeaux, it doesn't suit us.
Looks like a good ship for picking up sailing boats. It's got 4 good derricks there. Lots of deck space. Just a shame he's going to Bordeaux. And the outside dotted line is the guard zone. Anything that comes into that zone will sound the alarm. You can see how quickly he's moving past us here. That bearing line was just set a couple of minutes ago. That's the dotted line to the bottom right. After a night surrounded by thunderstorms, another school of porpoises. Very often they go past and then they'll come back. Look at that.
Oh, look.
Just went right over it.
We're approaching a bit of a dicey area actually. We've just hit another bit of driftwood, about 10 feet long, bulk of timber. A great big clump, wonder what it was. We've been going along 10, 15, perhaps even 20 knots, and it really bent our stock on the rudder and caused damage. So, is he getting, I know the flotsam here from ships which have gone down, because when we were in Corunna they said this is the coast of death, with sudden gales that come up.
We contacted the Spanish harbour authorities of La Coruña to inform them of our arrival, and they kindly sent out a search and rescue aircraft to check that we were okay.
Final run into La Coruña. Surfing down these waves.
Our present position is approximately 9.5 miles from the harbour. We should be with you in approximately 2 hours. Our speed is 5 knots. Our position is 43 degrees 28.9 north, 8 degrees 33.5 west. Over.
Roger, State of England. We have spent a lot of time coming to you. We were afraid that you had something wrong. Please confirm that your situation, your present situation is normal and you don't require anything else that to help you to enter the port of La Coruña.
Great.
We're in the town about the fishing fleet. We've gone on a wall.
Great.
We'll be looked after, yes.
Fantastic.
We'll stay for a few days here, you know.
Hey, yeah, let's do that.
Reception coming, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, they're really taking Spanish harbour authorities also sent out a lifeboat called the Hercules to ask if we needed any
Slow down
assistance.
further back, so they're expecting us to be further ahead.
Well, here we are, approaching Coruña, and this yacht here with full sail up is unable to catch us. And we simply have no mast, no mainsail, no genoa jib, no motor, and we're still losing him, just with one boom and one very nice all-purpose 1.5 ounce spinnaker, which goes upwind and downwind. And here we have the beautiful city of La Coruña and Torres del Hercules, a very old lighthouse. I don't really want to be here because there's traffic going in and out. Can we go up further up that way? To the end?
When we arrived in La Coruña, we had completed 700 miles under jury rig. Here is the damage to the starboard side, and there is the piece that we glassed up. The jury rig was only 1/4 of the height of the full rig, 16 feet, like the length of the boom. Even with this tiny rig, we managed to achieve 10 knots at times. My brother Julian drove down to Spain with a 26-foot half mast. John Chaundy and John Baharrel then sailed Spirit of England back to England, hitting 16 knots even with this small rig. At the end of the voyage, Spirit of England had achieved 1,200 miles under jury rig.